Court in Johannesburg, and our top story, Judge Thokozile Masipa has dismissed the state's application to appeal the sentence of Oscar Pistorius. The state had argued that Masipa failed to consider the seriousness of the crime that Pistorius had committed when sentencing him. Pistorius was found guilty of murdering his girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp at his Pretoria home in 2013. Earlier, Pistorius' lawyer, Barry Roux, disputed state prosecutor Gerrie Nell's argument that the former Olympian's sentence was shockingly lenient. Roux argued that Judge Masipa's judgment in sentence was just, but Nell submitted that the sentence was disproportionate to the seriousness of the crime committed. He said the sentence had been reduced from 15 years to 6 years for murder, notwithstanding that the mitigating factors of personal circumstances of the respondent induced a sense of shock. Well, let's cross now to the South Gauteng High Court. Our reporter Griselda Lewis is there. Griselda, good afternoon to you. So the application has been denied with costs. What's next for the state? Is this now over?
Well, Natasha, it certainly does not seem like it's over. Of course, you pointed out that Judge Thokozile Masipa has dismissed the state's application for leave to appeal the 6-year sentence imposed on Oscar Pistorius last month. But while the state has not indicated at this stage what its next move will be, in a quick telephone call to the National Prosecuting Authority, they did indicate that they will caucus and decide whether they will petition the Supreme Court of Appeal to hear this matter. Of course, that is one of the options that they do have at their disposal here, is to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal to hear this particular matter. But of course, we did see there, of course, the state this morning really tried to convince this court that it made a mistake in the sentence that it imposed on Oscar Pistorius, where we saw the state prosecutor, Gerrie Nell, there say the court had misdirected itself in several aspects, pointing out, for example, saying that the court did not take into account the horrendous way in which Reeva Steenkamp was killed, and that the mitigating factors had far outweighed the aggravating factors. So certainly Judge Thokozile Masipa did not seem quite convinced by the state's argument in this matter. We were not expecting, of course, Natasha, as well, the defense to take this lying down. You know, we saw Barry Roux question very much what the state's motive was in bringing this application before this court, also stating that it had only made public or made known the fact that it was going to appeal the sentence only 15 days after Judge Thokozile Masipa had handed down that sentence. We heard Barry Roux say things like, what exactly does the state want? Also pressing very quite largely there, Natasha, on the fact that the state seemed to have quoted case law, certain case law that would have been quite good for the application that they were making in this particular aspect. But we saw Barry Roux there say that, the state on its own was quite selective in what it chose to bring before this court, and also did not take into account the fact that Oscar Pistorius, while he may have been handed a 6-year sentence, Barry Roux says that the state did not take into account that Oscar Pistorius has already served a year behind bars and also an additional 7 months under house arrest, effectively making that about 8 years. So basically saying that the state's call for Oscar Pistorius to be given that 15-year minimum for murder, which it has been calling for, would be totally ridiculous. We saw them saying that it's been an insult for the state to bring this application, but they certainly succeeded here. But without a doubt, at this point, while the NPA says it's still going to caucus, the likelihood most definitely is that it will petition the Supreme Court of Appeal to hear this matter.
All right, Griselda, Judge Masipa is saying she's not persuaded that another court will come to a different decision. Take us through a bit of her deliberation.
Well, she didn't give much reasons there, Natasha, for reaching her findings. She simply said that she does not believe that another court will come to another conclusion. Of course, that's what she had to find in this particular matter here this morning, is whether another court would find or come to a different conclusion as to the decision that she made on the 6th of July last month, when she sentenced Oscar Pistorius to 6 years in prison. But certainly, I think while that ruling has been made, she's very cognizant of the fact that the state does have another option for it to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal, which certainly it will do in this matter, because from the very beginning, it had indicated that it was not going to sit by and allow Oscar Pistorius to spend 6 years behind bars. By the way, Natasha, that 6 years on its own doesn't mean that Oscar Pistorius will spend 6 years in jail. He does then become eligible to apply for parole once he serves half of that sentence. So I guess the state, looking at it from that aspect, does not believe that the sentence that Judge Thokozile Masipa had handed down was sufficient, and certainly they'll be calling for more. They wanted from the very beginning a minimum sentence for murder of 15 years. They're certainly sticking to their guns, and certainly in the next couple of hours or in the next couple of days, all likelihood is that they will indicate that they're going to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal.
Griselda, thank you very much. Griselda Lewis for us there at the South Gauteng High Court.